So in this video, I'm going to be looking at how I would set up this England side, specifically for the knockout stages. Most of my thoughts on the England setup were decided before the tournament even started, and group stage games will maybe change my thoughts slightly on individual personnel, but in regards to the system and what is needed from each specific player role in that system, I'm not going to be influenced too much by the group stage games, particularly the game against Iran, as I do think the knockout stages of the World Cup are substantially harder and do require a completely different setup. This video was also written before the USA game, so if I don't mention that, that is why. So another international tournament is upon us, so let's look at how I personally would set up this England side. So in go, honestly, I'd be fine with either Pickford or Ramsdale. If I was judging on who's a better keeper, I'd probably just about edge Ramsdale, but for England, given Pickford's performances and the fact that he's going to have the added cohesion with the back line, and he also has international tournament experience, I'd probably just go with him. Although if Ramsdale was picked as a starting keeper, I wouldn't see that as much of a problem, but for the sake of the video, let's just go with Pickford. Now I'd play a back three because I think it's better suited to tournament football and it offers more defensive stability in possession. It also does make it easier to move to a 3-2-5 or a 2-3-5 shape in possession, which at the moment is the most popular possession shape, particularly amongst the English clubs like City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United. So not only is it suited to tournament football, but the players are going to be familiar with it as well. But straight off the bat, I would have had Fikayo Tomori in the centre of that back three. However, obviously he hasn't been picked somehow. So in terms of playing a back three in the centre, I'd probably have to go with Eric Dyer over Harry Maguire and Conor Coady. As I think not only is he the best defender of the three, he also has the experience of playing in a back three for the last season or so under Antonio Conte. Either side of Eric Dyer, I'd go with John Stones from the left, as I do think he's England's best centre back in the squad, and he also has the ball playing ability to play in one of those wide centre back positions. And on the right, ideally I'd go with Kyle Walker, as I think his recovery pace is going to be crucial, and all round I just think he's perfectly suited to that wide centre back role. However, it's unclear how fit he's going to be, so in the circumstance that he's not fit, I'd still be happy to play Ben White in that position, who like Kyle Walker brings a degree of pace, but also the ball playing ability of Stones on the other side. In the wing back positions, England are obviously significantly weaker, without the options of Reece James and Ben Chilwell in the squad, though I do think Luke Shaw would still be the starter ahead of Ben Chilwell, even if Chilwell was fit. And on the right, I personally at the moment, just because of form, would start Kieran Trippier, though I do also see the argument for Trent Alexander-Arnold, though I do think the decline in his defensive form has been concerning, so going into the latter stages of the tournament against the best sides, I definitely think that that would be a concern, and so I'd probably go with Kieran Trippier in those latter stages and maybe Trent in the group stage, even though I do think both could be appropriate options, but I'd probably just go with the Newcastle man just because of his current form. So in a perfect world for this tournament, my back six would be Jordan Pickford in goal, Kyle Walker and John Stones either side of Eric Dyer, with Trent or probably just Trippier edging it at the moment, and Luke Shaw as the wing back. So I do think Ben White could also come in place for Kyle Walker, which is probably the more likely option at the moment given Kyle Walker's injury status. In the midfield, I think a double pivot with a front three ahead is probably the best way forward, giving England a 3-4-3 shape that can also move to a 3-2-5 in possession and a 5-2-3 out of possession. Declan Rice is the obvious option in central midfield, and I think everyone would agree with me including him in that midfield, but the question is who should play alongside him. I think Jude Bellingham alongside Rice gives England a good balance in games where England want to transition the attack a bit quicker, which I do think will be the majority of the games. However, certainly when England want to exert control and retain possession a bit more, bringing in Calvin Phillips alongside Rice may also be a good alternative option, as I think Phillips does provide that press resistance and the ability to circulate the ball and keep possession that Rice and Bellingham don't excel at to the same degree. However, I do think that Bellingham alongside Rice is probably the best midfield double pivot partnership, especially for that 3-4-3 system, as opposed to playing like natural wingers who hold their width and stay on the outside of the fullback, as the wing backs Trippier or Trent on the right and Luke Shaw on the left can push further forward, providing the width on the flank with the stability of the back three and the midfield double pivot behind them. And so because of this, I would go with Rashford from the left and Sterling from the right, as I think those two are better at making those diagonal runs in behind, with Rashford's goals against Arsenal and Liverpool this season being perfect examples. However, with the 5 sub rule, both Foden and Saka will still play crucial roles even if they don't start, likely being the first subs off of the bench, providing better dribbling ability and interplay than Sterling and Rashford, and so in games against sides that do sit deep and close off the space in behind, negating Sterling and Rashford's ability to make those runs in behind, then I'd use Foden and Saka in those wide forward positions, either side of Harry Kane. So let's quickly run through the starting 11, Pickford in goal, a back three of either Ben White or Kyle Walker if he is fit, and John Stones either side of Eric Dyer, with Kieran Trippier and Luke Shaw the wing backs, with Trent also an option at right back as well. Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham would be the starting double pivot, with Calvin Phillips an alternative to Jude Bellingham, and Kane would start as the centre forward with either Sterling and Rashford or Saka and Foden either side of him. Now, despite a number of good performances against Iran, my thinking hasn't changed much, as I said before, although I definitely think that Saka has made a very good case to start in the latter stages of the tournament because of his shooting ability around the box, and so at the moment, I'd probably maybe change Foden and go with Saka in most games. But England have plenty of options and the ability to change to a 4-2-3-1 from a back 5 if needed, with Mason Mount, James Maddison and Jack Grealish all capable of coming in for one of those 5 defenders. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, remember to subscribe, give the video a like and check out some of my other videos in the description below and put your thoughts in the comment section as well.